So we have Best Electronic Album of 2022. We have Fragments by Bonobo. We have Actual Life 3 by Fred again. We have Paradise Again by Swedish House Mafia. We have Cherry by Daphni. Fossorta by Björk. Renaissance by Beyoncé. And Funk Wave Bounces Volume 2 from Calvin Harris. A really good step forward for like electronic genre this year. We had obviously like Beyonce, Drake put out some very popular house styles of records, and a couple other people.
Let's get that out of the way immediately, because you mentioned two folks in there that are mainstream, like big staples in pop music. Yep. One of those is not on this list,
and one of those is not on this list.
One of these is one like the other. Exactly. Yeah, one of these is on this list, and one of these is not like on this list. And that, like, flat out, like, one effort was miles away better than the others. And honestly, like, 100%. Beyonce's effort was miles away better, because they both came out around the same time. They were like early summer, June records, I want to say. Maybe Beyonce's was July. I forget the top of my head. But Beyonce's gave credit to, you know, the art of dance music. She has, like, you know, whatever she says, like, the music industry kind of goes to, that's a very powerful thing she does. And so, like, she implemented that well. She's able to do a little bit of experimentation and going through a number of different genres within electronic music. Definitely, like, more of the classic stuff, not so much like the later 10s, early 2020 stuff. So probably good right there. I think some of the newer stuff was really good, and more on that in just a moment. But I'm glad that she was able to put that to a pop level, something that challenges Beyonce fans, but also pop fans alike. So really great for the Audioface Awards, especially. Something. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just gonna say, and then in general, it's like we have a new Swedish House Mafia record, which is, you know, they haven't had a record in years, and it was great to hear them come back and just fucking knock it out of the park. You had Daphni come out with a record, and it's just all of these. It's a good year for electronic music. I feel like, where the past maybe 2 or 3 years of us doing Audioface, it's been pretty lackluster, and we have come out hard saying that, you know, so we need more experimentation. Should be the genre that has the most oomph, the most different things about it. So it's good to see people really making decent records with it now. So
yeah. Fragments with Bonobo came in really hot earlier in the year too. We had a lot of like really early in the year hitters that like it was great that we were able to do this award show and come back to. Yeah. Really no skips in any of that. And then Actual Life 3 by Fred again, which is a really large like compilation of a lot of the work he's done. A really big project that's been evangelized by Kyle, one of the producers on Audioface this year. So thanks to him, but like also well deserved. I've dug a lot into Fred again's discography. I've seen him live once. I technically could have seen him at Coachella, but I saw him at Primavera, and phenomenal person, both live and in studio, and really well done. What do you think for this very, very tough year in electronic music?
Shit.
I have a pretty easy one.
Let's go yours.
Beyonce, no contest. It's... Listen, like you gotta give it to her. Like,
I wanted, yeah.
She is great within her own right, and like sometimes maybe a hot take I'll give that maybe I feel more comfortable now that I'm giving Beyonce an award is that like I'd say Beyonce is like, you know, Beyonce fans show out for her, but because of that, I think Beyonce's choose my words carefully. I think Beyonce's perceived abilities as a modern musician when compared to others can be overblown in some regards. Like what I mean by that is that like there are newer artists that are like Beyonce is like in a league of her own, right? But we do this podcast because we like discovering new things that are out there that are like also kind of bubbling up that like in different ways offer things that Beyonce doesn't. And you know, in order to get to the Beyonce level, you need to do a lot of things that a lot of these artists definitely are not there at. But some of them even are. Not in this genre yet, but like again, she pivoted to electronic. She succeeded, stuck the landing, did a lot of good callbacks, everything. I feel like the only difference with Beyonce's record and pretty much everything else we nominated, with two exceptions, I'll give it to Bonobo and Fred again. These albums were a little bit one-dimensional. And I think Swedish House Mafia's was a little bit more experimental than that, and same with Daphni's to some extent. But Funkwave Bounces Volume 2, while it was really nice, it was consistent. It was just like not super quiet electronic, and just like B, maybe worth a nomination, doesn't compare to all the other things on this list. Fossorta by Björk, which we haven't talked a lot about. Which
I would say which is the most experimental out of all of them, because half of the record is electronic, half of the record is like experimental indie-ish is what I would kind of label it as. So we decided to put in electronic just because it had more electronic in it, and that would be the easiest way to describe the record, I would say. Especially the latter half, the second half of the record has a lot more like techno tracks, some garage samples, and other things onto it. So with that one, I mean, it's definitely a one-dimensional. I like it a lot, and that was like kind of my hard pick between for me. It's between Fossorta and Renaissance, but I'll probably give it to Renaissance and Fossorta be a runner-up.
I'm absolutely happy to do that, and because Fossorta, like, I'll say this really quickly because like Björk is your gal, but Fossorta feels amazingly relevant, whereas Beyoncé just like hits the hits of like the most approachable dance music, I would say.
Yeah,
Fossorta by Björk is like future looking. Like this is modern techno, which is amazing because Björk's been in the game the longest of all these artists.
Yeah, since the 80s.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so
very happy with that.
Beyoncé is the winner of Best Electronic Album with Björk's Fossorta as a well-deserved close second.
Yes.